In this episode of Velocity Labs, we're pulling the EJ22T out of this Subaru and we're putting it in that Bug. Actually, we're not putting it in the Bug in this episode. In this episode, we're just pulling the motor out of the Subaru. And then it's gonna sit on an engine stand in the corner of my garage, probably for like a year. Yeah, so it's been a little more than a year, but we are finally getting moving on Project Bugford. I didn't say finish, I said moving. Slowly. All right, so the way that this project started was I originally sold the motor out of the Bug to help pay for the 97 Talon that I picked up from New Mexico. So it's finally time to take that EJ22T that I had pulled out of my Legacy a couple years ago and get it installed. Thing is, I've always had the plan of running a reverse gear Subaru 5-speed transmission in this, but I don't have the money for that. So we're gonna go ahead and go with the cheaper option, which is a killer adapter plate from KEP. So let's get to work. All right, so we've got the Bug here. No engine in, obviously. This container right here is the ECU and wiring harness and a couple other random bits. We got the EJ22 over here. And the thing that's gonna let us get it in there is right here. Oh, it's heavy. A $500 chunk of aluminum. In the box, we have this shiny new flywheel, and then underneath that is the adapter plate itself, which allows us to bolt the EJ22T right to the stock Volkswagen transmission. Rest in peace, clutch. As always, step one is jack up your car. All right, first thing we're gonna do is pop the fenders off so we can pop the rear apron off. That'll give us plenty of room to work in there. So I pulled the stool up, and first thing that I found is a big wasp nest. Anyway, let's get these fenders off. Oh yes. I would say now, the only thing left to do is get that EJ22 up on the little crane, shove it in there, see how she fits. Actually, no, that's not what we need to do next. All of this sound deadening stuff has to go. And I also have to clear out the inside back package tray. Because I'm going to need access in there. I'm going to be cutting a hole right about there-ish for the turbo to sit through. But yeah, all that sound deadening stuff has to go. A couple of those wires that go nowhere have to go. But yeah, we're getting close. So this back firewall actually looks really good. Somebody must have like rhino lined it or something like that. You can see I scraped off a little bit of it right there. The original color of this was white. So yeah, that must have been rhino lined. It looks great. I'm gonna be cutting a big hole right about here-ish because that's where the turbo and the downpipe are gonna go. Next up, we need to get rid of all of the stuff that we no longer need in the engine bay, like some wires, heater hoses, etc. Here's a pile of rear insulation that is now garbage. Next up, we gotta pull the rear seats and trim so we can cut some holes in the back. And there we go, looking good. We still need to tear up some carpet. Now we're ready to move the engine out of the corner where it's been sitting for about a year and a half and get it mounted. There we go, one dangly engine. And the biggest thing in the way right now is the downpipe, so let's go ahead and chop that. There we go, one completed downpipe. I mean, who needs a muffler anyway, right? So that will sit on just like that. Also, a shop light went out while I was doing this, so I gotta fix that. This is bolted on ugly-like, but it will work for mock-up. Also, this heat shield will have to come off later as well. Now for the good parts. First up, we need to get rid of the stock Subaru flywheel. I had to get out the impact and fire up the compressor. Luckily, it didn't wake the baby, and it let me zip the flywheel right off. Now we can see where the adapter plate sits, and according to Mick at Busaru, the plate will need a little trimming right here to fit the turbo EJ22. And a quick test fit confirms, yep, we do need to trim it right here a little bit. I'm marking this with a marker, and we'll start taking off tiny little bits at a time until it fits. Baby's still asleep, so that's good. Clean it up a little bit with a file and let's check the fit. It's still rubbing a little. You can see this spot right here of this dirt and grease where it's hitting, so we're just gonna take off a little more. That fits like a glove now. And now we have a perfect fit. So yeah, check it out. This is actually where I filed. It's I went ahead and spent some time on it. I mean, you can obviously see where I did it, but I beveled this edge nice, just like the other stuff is, so it's not razor sharp and pretty smooth. Not bad. But yeah, that's golden. We're gonna go ahead and stick this guy on there. And I gotta give another shout out to Busaru. He is making this process a whole lot easier. I'm basically just following along with his videos, and I'll link those in the description. But yeah, it does a fantastic job, shows you all the bolts, where everything needs to go. Anyway, he's been a huge help, so check out his channel. We're putting these 4 bolts in with a little blue Loctite and torquing to 40 foot-pounds. Next, we clean up the flywheel with some brake clean and make sure that it's perfect. Next up is the flywheel bolts with red Loctite and 51 foot-pounds. Now at this time we should be putting a beefy clutch in this thing, but again, I got no cash for that, so we're cleaning up the old one and slapping it back in. This will be good enough for just getting around town if I don't push it. And it'll also allow me not to have to push the bug around. And then these guys only get like 25 foot-pounds, so not a lot. Now with the Volkswagen clutch installed on the Subaru engine, we can now put the engine mounting studs in. There's 4 studs here and one of them is longer than the others. The long one goes up in the top left, and I'm going to use red Loctite on these to make sure that they stay put. All right, all the studs are in. We're gonna do a quick test fit. We gotta get rid of that stud though. That needs to go. Oh, that worked. Now that those are done, it's time to make room for the turbo. We're going to get inside and I have most of the area cleaned up and ready to go. And we're going to be cutting a hole right about here-ish, right where the turbo goes. Inside, there's a bunch of gunk that I've been removing, but it doesn't come off very easily, so I'm gonna worry about that later and just go ahead and get my cuts done. I need to do a quick test fit to see exactly where the turbo is going to hit, and I can't get close enough, so the deck lid needs to come off. And this leads me to more Volkswagen wiring sloppiness. The wiring doesn't disconnect from the light. Oh no, that'd be too easy. It leads down and splices in with the taillight wiring. Once that's disconnected, we can pop the deck lid off and get the engine close enough for a test fit. All right, back to test fitting. All right, so it's still got to come up about 5 inches, but you can see the turbo right here. And so this basically right here is where we need to cut. And luckily, my friend Mick over at Subaru has a video showing exactly where you need to cut this thing. Let's see if we can focus on this. Yeah, so right there. This is his video. Anyway, I'm gonna mark that out the exact same way that he did because it worked perfect for him. So let's go back. I'll link that video in the description as well. Now we need a hole right here where there is none, but that's a problem that can easily be solved with violence. This is the fuel line though, so make sure this is well out of the way. I also needed to make a few cuts in the car as well. Once that was done, I pulled out the now scrap metal to make room for the turbo. All right, that hole's cut. Looks pretty good. I think that's about where I wanted it. I went too far on a couple places right there, and then really bad on the inside because I was trying to watch the camera angle instead of my cut, which is not a great idea. But you can see right here, I went too far as well. Not as bad as I first thought, but that should fit the turbo. Let's try it out. All right, we're looking good, but we need this heater hose out of the way because that's where the downpipe's gonna go. Let's give that a yank. Uh-oh. That's okay. Next. It's looking pretty good. Plenty of room for the downpipe to sneak in there. Now for the next test fit, and everything's looking good. These two coolant fill hoses are hitting, so we're gonna have to address that, and the two heater hose fittings will hit slightly, so they need to be bent down a little bit. And then things like this brake booster line are going to get removed, capped, and relabeled so I don't forget what they are. Next, I got some bolts in the downpipe to make sure that's secure. They are definitely not the right bolts that came with this, but I can't find those, so these will work. The wiring harness is its own project, and we're gonna have to figure that out later. We'll mount the engine first and then figure out exactly where we need to cut a hole to get the harness inside the car. Next up is lots and lots of test fitting. The OEM heat shield on the downpipe isn't going to fit, so off it goes. I'll probably be doing a custom downpipe and custom heat shield anyway, so no worries there. And if the turbo hole needs to be bigger, I know exactly where I keep the angle grinder. So after another test fit, I couldn't get the starter bolt fastened. All right, ran into the problem of getting the starter nut on. So the stud is going through there underneath the car, but this literally can't thread because it won't line up with the hole. And even if it did, there's no way to turn it. It's too big to actually turn. The reason for that is typically this has this really goofy stud that goes through the other way. It's got this really weird head on it, and what that does is sits flat and then can't really turn once it's on there. But that doesn't work when you're going this way and trying to get a nut on there because you literally just can't do it. So I did some Googling, found some other people that ran into this exact same problem, and the solution is to grind away a big chunk of metal here so you can actually turn the nut. So that's what we're doing next. And since I know where I hide the angle grinder, we'll go ahead and fix it with that. I took a lot of material off the starter and the nut looks like it'll fit now, so let's try it out. And good news, that was a success. You can see right here I can get the top starter bolt in and working. And if you look behind that, you'll notice that I need to get an O2 sensor in that downpipe before I put the engine in. But we'll fix that later. And there we go, that engine is physically installed. Now all we need to hear it run is fuel and sorting out the wiring harness. I wrestled and fought with the harness for a couple days and even got the courage to start breaking it down myself, and that was a mistake. I quickly got in way over my head, so I need to ship it off to a pro and get it done correctly. That costs about $700 though, which is about $699 more than I actually have, so for now the bug is getting put on hold. Up next, we are finally upgrading the clutch on the Eclipse. I can't wait.